Peace, everybody. This is the Six for Sixers podcast. I am the host, your host, Creek, back at you again. Another disappointing loss. Man, this one hurt because we were playing pretty well in the beginning of the game. The Sixers lose to the Mavericks 118-102. That score indicates that it seems like it wasn't even close. But it actually was a close game for the first three quarters. The Sixers really made a good run of it in the beginning, but just fell short due to a fourth quarter run by Dallas where they just poured it on. Kyrie Irving came alive and just made it very difficult for us to win. And I don't know if it's time to panic or not, but that's two straight. And Utah was a close one. We barely won that one. We have Golden State coming up next. And things are just not looking good right now for us. If you are new to the podcast, please like, share, subscribe, comment. Comment whether you agree, disagree. But on this podcast, we talk everything Sixers in 6 points. The 6 for Sixers. So tonight's game against the Mavericks, we're going to break down in 6 points. First point is that the Sixers are starting games better than they were in the beginning of the season. That's actually good news. However, now we're not closing games. In the beginning of the season, we were starting really slow, leading to us really having to work hard in the fourth quarter. But now we're actually starting games well. We started this game pretty well. First quarter, we were up on the Mavericks 33-26. So I thought that was a very good start to the first quarter. Team was shooting pretty well. Ball was moving well. And then in the fourth quarter, we didn't close the game out. And the fourth quarter, the Mavericks outscored us 41-28. And we don't really have a closer. That's why we're not closing games out. And I guess that's really something for the coaching staff to work out. But in those last minutes of the game, you do need a closer. Embiid is our closer, and he's out on injury. So who's up next? Is it going to be Harris? Is it going to be Maxey? Has to be one of those two. I would go with Harris over Maxey. I think he's the more versatile player. And I think that he's wiser. He can take advantage of smaller defenders, and he has the ability to really go by the bigger defenders. But whoever is going to be, choose somebody and let's roll, because it's evident in the end of the game that the Sixers really don't have a go-to player to close out games. Point number 2. Well, that's going to be the point for a while, actually. But injuries, absent players, we need more from the players that are out there. Obviously, Embiid is out. Melton has not come back. Batum is still out. So we really are leaning on Harris, Maxey, Oubre, and then the role players just to step up. Reed and Bamba have to contribute more. We'll get to them later. But I think Kelly Oubre started the game really well. But then in the fourth quarter, he kind of disappeared. He was aggressive. He was getting to the basket. He was muscling guys. He was just very aggressive, but then he didn't maintain it. Harris ended the game with 17 points on 8 of 11 field goal attempts. That's great. 8 of 11, 1 for 1 from three-point line. But with Embiid out, we need more than 11 attempts from Harris. We probably need more, around 20 to 25 attempts from Harris to try. If Harris can give us 25, 30 points, that would be great. Maxey did not play well tonight, ending the game with 15 points on 6 for 16 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3-point. And that's another. He was a minus 23. We just need more. So those guys and the coach staff, they also have to figure that out. What's going to be the offensive scheme for those guys to produce more points? Because that's just not going to be acceptable with Joel Embiid out. We need Maxey over 25, and we need Harris well over 20, probably at around 25 a game. And Oubre, 20 and up, or at least 20. Tonight he had 19. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good showing, except for his 2 for 7 from the three-point line. Point number 3, positive. They held Luka to 19 points. And Luka is scoring, I think, about 34 per game. Last week, I think he put up 72 or 73. And I was just tonight kind of nervous, not really at Kyrie, but really at Luka embarrassing us, because I didn't think we had a guard that really could size up with him or match up with him. But they did a pretty good job on Luka, and limiting him to only 19 points is a positive. And I think he seemed a little bit out of sync. He had an off night, but the Sixers also, they crowded his space, and it made it difficult for him really to get off. So that was a good job defensively on that particular player. And then you look at other players who I guess you don't expect to do what they do. Grant Williams, who went for 14 points. And then in the second half, Kyrie Irving went off. He ended up with 23 points. So, yeah, I expected from Kyrie. Did not expect that from Grant Williams. So he kind of picked up the slack where Luka didn't really didn't produce. Point number 4, 3-point shooting. I've said it all season long, that I've looked at the numbers when the Sixers are over 30% from the 3-point line. They actually do better than games where they're under 30%. Tonight, 27% from the 3-point line. And we rely very heavily on the 3-point shot. If we're at 27%, those are the games where we tend to struggle. Maxey from 3-point line was 1 for 5, 20%. Oubre was 2 for 7. So, if Maxey can give us 40% and Oubre can give us upper 30%, we stand a better of a chance. And other guys that didn't make any tonight, House Jr. 0 for 2. And I like House Jr. He's an energizer bunny, but 3-point shooting, I don't really prefer House Jr. to shoot the 3. Paul Reed, I know he's been working on it in the offseason. I do not prefer Paul Reed shooting at 3. 0 for 1. KJ Martin 0 for 1. And Jaden Springer 0 for 2. So point number 4 is 3-point shooting has to come up. Point number 5, Springer is developing into a really good player. One of our Facebook members on the Facebook group named Mark, he put a post up about Springer and that Springer's defense is getting to be elite. And I agree that Springer is really, really developing well. It's great to see him develop. Last year, he was all over the place last season. Even in the beginning of this season, he would get in the game, and you knew he had the energy. He has the athleticism, but he just wasn't making great decisions because he was just playing too fast. He was just all over the place trying to, when you're all over the place like that, it's hard to really, really make solid decisions. You really need to slow down a little bit and let the game come to you. You can see the floor a lot better, see where guys are supposed to be, and make better choices. And he did that tonight. He had a couple fast breaks, one fast break in particular where he slowed down. And he didn't just try to power up a shot that wasn't a good shot. He found an open man to pass to that had a better layup situation. And another time where he came down off the break and he slowed down. He looked around to see who was around him, and then he just pulled up for a jumper in the lane, and he made that. So he had ended with 8 points. It's great to see the evolution of Springer. He's developing into a great two-way player, not only on offensively making better choices, but defensively. Let me see. I think he grabbed a couple steals tonight. Yes, 3 steals for Springer, 5 rebounds and 4 assists and 8 points. That's a good night for him. And I think with more time, he only had 21 minutes. I think he'll develop into a better player. Melton will be coming back, so that's going to cut into his minutes a little bit. But good job by Springer. And the point number 6 is I'm calling out Mo Bamba and Paul Reed, B-Ball Paul. I love both of them guys. They play good in a reserve role with Embiid. I thought both of them, but now we need a lot more for them. They combine for 7 points. We probably going to need like at least 20 combined for them, 10 and 10. Bamba rebounded very well, had 10 rebounds. And Bamba, you did get 1 block tonight, but I think that I don't think anybody's really afraid to come to the basket and make a layup or dunk on us. Whereas with Embiid, you would see players alter their shots or just go the other way when Embiid would rotate defensively and help on defense. Guys just didn't want any parts of it. I don't think anybody's afraid of Bamba and Reed. And that's something that I don't know if that can change. I don't know if they're the type of player that anybody's going to be afraid of. But I think that point-wise, they need to give us more. And Reed at 22 minutes, 6 rebounds. Again, we're going to need a little bit more from him as well. Reed had 22 minutes. Mo Bamba had 18 minutes. So they're, in effect, covering for Embiid. But Reed's going to have to give us more rebounds and points, more than 2 points per game. A lot of that is just better shot selection. Reed was 1 for 6. And so he just has to shoot, more high percentage shots. I like the fact that he's trying to expand his game, but what do we really need from him? More of an interior presence. Those are my 6 points. That is 0 for 2 in the homestand. And we have Golden State up next. In the predictions on Facebook, people were predicting 3 for 2, 3 and 2. I predicted 3 and 2. Some people predicted 4 and 1. Now we're 0 and 2. So I guess we'll be real fortunate if we can get out 3 and 2. But it looked like, I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on with the team. I mean, I know what's going on is injuries and all, but some of these games I still feel like we should be able to win. And tonight was one of them if we would have played consistently for 4 quarters. That's my 6 for 6 wrap up. Appreciate everybody watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. We talking all Sixers talk here. Win or lose, we still love our Sixers. Till next time. Golden State Wednesday, or unless something big happens in the next day, 24 hours to 48 hours that we have to do another series about or show about. See you then. 6 for Sixers. It's your brother Creek, and I'm out. Peace.